How's it going, guys? This is me, myself at home here. Just took a drink of water too. What the hell? And welcome to the explanation of what I can only assume you just listened to, or else why would you click on this link to the explanation of the video that you haven't even heard the song of? I don't know. Maybe you just like music. Who knows? But I decided to put this in the second video. Just put it aside. So I'll get right into it. On this one, I have a bunch of other songs that I haven't done these for that I'm going to get to. So that's on my list to do. But moving on with the short stuff out of the way. On this one, I used, I think, only two non-standard packs, not standard sounds. I have no clue what the hell that is from. Oh, nope. That's standard. That's included. The only one I didn't use was the sleigh bells. And it's basically this long recording of doing whole notes, quarter notes, eighths notes, and 16th notes. And that's the only one I used. Everything else is either through Citrus, above where I am, or I'm pretty sure, and Direct Wave. That was the other one. Pretty sure strings are Direct Wave too. Yep, yes they are. Alright. So on each one of these they start sounding each better and better. And I actually have, as you probably should, I don't know. I don't even know the first thing to actually like mixing and making it sound good. Like I can balance it out when it sounds good to me, and just that's pretty much the extent of my my mixing and producing capabilities. I can only just do all this stuff. So I used 27 different patterns. Like I said, each one has its own mixer channel. So I've noticed that if you have like something with a high, instead of trying to separate out the highs and lows in the same mixer channel, you can just put them into different ones, and that solves your problem. Probably not the most efficient or the best way to do it. I'm pretty sure if you just did it properly, it would sound much better. But I don't know how to do that. So I just put reverb on all of the tracks, and I'm pretty sure that's it. I just did reverb for all of the tracks. These have extra, but they're turned off because I go through and I do all this first, and then I go back and I do all of the adjustments for the volume and everything like that, and I do that last, because then you have half the song and you have half the song completely done, and then you screw up the next half. It's happened to me before, so that's why I do it in this order. Alright, so the first, I don't even know what the first one was. I'm pretty sure the first one I did was the piano. Oh, yep. So if you've never heard this song, it's by 21 Pilots. They're kind of like a rap group, but they're kind of like electronic style too. The way I described it to my friend is it's kind of like rap, but it's like Linkin Park music with like rap music on it, but not like the rap music that Linkin Park kind of does. Like it's kind of like Linkin Parky style type of music with like, I don't want to say Eminem style rap because it's not, but almost like close to. So I'll put link to some of their songs in the description, I guess, if you've never heard them. My friend showed me this band like months ago. I was like, wow, these guys are pretty good. So I usually on these, if you haven't watched any of these before, if I ever get stuck, I usually just turn to sources on the internet. But surprise, since apparently this is not a... I love this song. This is one of my favorite songs by them, and Car Radio was my other favorite. Kitchen Sink, though, not a lot of people like it. So they're literally like zero sources. Zero. Like, I had to listen to this song. This one right here. Whoops. Like, I literally had to listen to that song. I've listened to that song at least 500 times. Probably only like 250, but I listen to it far more than I would ever like to admit, because there is absolutely nothing on the internet anywhere to even help me. This is why it's taken me like 3 months to do this. I think I released the... Oh, thank you, SoundCloud, for telling me I only have 100 minutes left. You and your annoying pop-ups. So I released the preview on my SoundCloud, which will be in the description, about 30 days ago. And that was after like another 2 months of working on it. So it's definitely been long. So the first one I have are just the FL keys. Just the standard FL keys, and you go up into channels. It's just right there. So I use mostly standard stuff, but I have some stuff. Where's my extras folder? I have this extras folder full of a whole bunch of shit that I really don't even use, because it's just like generic, like offbeat stuff, because I can never find exactly what I want, because apparently nobody makes that, because nobody is like into like orchestral or concert style band like patches and stuff for FL Studio. Like, what's the deal with that? But so the first, all right, so the first one is just the keys. This is the main theme that plays at the beginning after you do the intro. All right. So that's the main theme. So it starts here, but it's basically some of the chords dropped out. All right. So the second one is what I just showed you. Is the first beginning part where the chords dropped out. So you have the two. So you have a good there. So this one is, all right. So in the song, there are a couple challenges that I faced. One was this. So if I play it back for you. So you hear the kind of scooping sound, like it's almost like a metallic scooping pitch sound. So I had to try and recreate that. And of course, this by far took me the longest to figure out, because how do you recreate that? Like, that's such a weird sound. It's not like a slide whistle or anything. Like, I tried a slide whistle, trust me. Not even close. So what I ended up coming to was this. Was the closest possible thing I could come up with, and it sounded terrible on anything except for just plain old FL keys. So I just have a slide in there, and it just repeats over and over and over and over and over throughout the whole song. A fair chunk of the song. The second half of the song, not so much. Alright. So, the next one, I used a couple different kick drums. I used this one. And then I used... There you go. That's the key. I used this one and I used this one. Which are exactly the same, but I needed them on different channels because one of them needs to be going on at the same time as the other one, off beats and something weird. I don't exactly know, but I needed 2 of them because sometimes you just need to have, that's why I have 4 FL keys. And yeah, I need to keep it on unsorted. And down here I have like a couple crash, even though it's kind of normal. So alright, so moving on to the 5. So this is just the snare drum. This is the snare drum that is used here. It's used here. It's used somewhere. I have not a clue. Here it is. It's here. So it's used there, and then it's used here when this interesting section I will get to later, which was also a problem. So is this weird thing. I will get to that in due time when we get to it on the... So if you haven't watched any of these, I don't go by like the time and length. I go by the order I did them in, which makes it kind of confusing, but it also makes sure that I don't explain something twice, or I don't skip something, and I don't have to try to like piece together every single thing. Of course, they're all labeled here, but some of them are incorrect because I was like, well, I only have so much room on the monitor, and I even had some stuff down here. So I was like, yeah, just throw it on there in an empty slot, and it'll be good. So I have the double clap, which is what you hear here. So it's this right here. That's what it sounds like without, by itself. That goes on under that pattern there. Simple of the 2 claps that I used to make it. Again, I would listen to either the recreation I did or the original song to actually know what I'm talking about, so you'd be like, oh yeah, it's kind of like what it sounds like in the song and stuff like that. Alright, so the next one is the hat, which is this one. So this is this one here. So here I have 2 different types. So I have this one. Why are they? They're the same. So I just have the 2. I don't know why they're the same there. They must have been somewhere else. But I basically have the ride hats, which is RD ride hat 6 from the just standard packs. I have it at one at. I have at 2 different pitches. It's that and something else to try to recreate what was going on in the song. So I use a lot of substitutes that don't really match up with how it sounds in the song, but my goal is to never make a 1-for-1 copy, because that is pretty impossible for me, because I am everything, if you just listen to it, as much as it sounds good and stuff, no fucking clue what I'm doing. Let's be realistic here. I just throw stuff on here and just take 3 months to make it sound even remotely good. So I'm sure if I was actually pretty adept and skilled at actually making music, this would again sound much better. Going back to the whole separate mixer tracks and stuff. Alright. So here in the second part of the song, when you start getting the chords to go up, you have that hat at the end. There on the offbeats. Pretty simple. Alright. So that's basically just the open hat here. Whoop. The open hat there. To fill in the drum beat. So I plotted out what the basic drum beat sounded like, and I was like, oh, this would sound good here, and oh, let's not make it the same thing over and over again. Oh, let's put something weird right here in the one section of the song where it changes. Stuff like that. So I take little liberties just to do stuff like that. I did it on one of the other songs where I basically just did like the first like 4 measures of the drum beat, and then I listened to the song like 20 times, and I was like, okay, it's basically the same, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I made like my own drum beat using different stuff from those just 4 that bars that were exact to the actual song. So that's the hat. Moving on to number, technically 10 because one of them repeats. All right. So this one comes in here. So after we go, so this in the actual song, this is where the song starts. God, what the hell? So the song starts here.
Nobody thinks what I think. Nobody dreams with any blank think things on the brink of catastrophe on my own shrink. Pretty much have the words memorized how many times I've had to listen to some of these sections of songs. It got quite annoying really fast, let me tell you. So this is the part here where he starts to actually rap and talk over the song. So up here is just, up until then was just music. And then it comes back here for some more. And then that is it. The 2 times it happens in the song, and then at the end, you have that. It's basically what it sounds like by itself. This one's empty too. What? Why do I have so many empty ones? Alright. So after all that happens and we go to, so this is the chorus part where the I don't know what it's actually called. The harpsichord. It's some kind of harp. Oh, it's a Baroque harpsichord. Pretty sure that's what it was. It's just called Weird Baroque. But that's where that comes in, and that's the chorus. So here is where this would actually begin. With a song, with the backing vocals. I decided to add that in. Or else this section here kind of becomes pretty plain. So it's... I just use the direct wave, the standard, like the standard, when you pull up direct wave, this is the first thing, the default preset it loads, and I was like, oh great, I can use this. Sounds great too. Pretty much how I get most of my sounds. Alright, so as you can see, we're skipping all the way to the end of the song because don't ever do anything in order, because then you listen to the same like 3 seconds of the song over and over again, and you can't keep going in a continuous line because you've heard each previous section 20, 25, 30 times in a row. So I tend to go back and forth to not drive myself insane. So basically this is the end, like, chorus build up of the song. where if I scroll back up to the song, actually no. So I'll just stop referencing the song. But it's the basic end chorus of the song. So here we have, that is not what I wanted to do. And it repeats, and it repeats, and it repeats, and it repeats, and it repeats all the way to the end. After his, I'm pretty sure it's his brother who comes on at the wub wubs here, and he raps, and then that goes all the way to the end. So this is just with why is there no, where's the plugin? What? Alright then. I'm pretty sure that's a standard one too. There's just no plugin attached to it, which is weird, because usually I don't like using this menu because it's not very flushed out, and it's kind of, it's not hard to use, but it's not flushed out, and it's overly complicated than it needs to be. I'll put it that way. Alright, so this one, if I can start at the beginning. Is true. If we back up to this part is the second. Okay, so I didn't delete any of these old files because I tested out a lot of songs, so there's a lot of remnants of tracks that I'm not using, and I'm pretty sure this is the one of the ones that I vetoed, and I used the strings for that instead. That is indeed right here where I used the strings for it. Alright, next one. Alright, here we go. So here's the ending. We've moved back onto the ending. So you do this big build up, and then the cymbal roll, and then you got this. This is what plays at the end. Way out here. So there you go. It plays right at the end, and it ends out the song, as an end usually does. So go back to this snare, which I thought was a different one. It's the first when you do the chords with the big chords, and I wanted to make a high impact snare instead of trying to use this one. This one, which is kind of more of a traditional, just a snare drum, like concert snare drum style. It doesn't have a lot of high impact, so I wanted to use something which has a lot of hit, a lot of snack to it, which is technically could be considered almost like a rim shot. It's probably more of like a rim shot and actually hitting the drum as well, but whatever. Okay, this is the chorus. This is the actual like overlaying melody. That's not the chorus. So here is the weird broke that I was talking about that heads off the chorus, and is the only time that happens. Except for there as well, because I was gonna use it at the end for the huge build-up, but it doesn't fit together with everything else. I soon figured out, and I wanted it to sound good together, not just sound good individually, because then it'll just sound like shit when you play it back. So it plays through this whole thing. Really? And then we go. And that's
that goes up. So I'm not even going to try to remember how much it goes up because it's not important. Technically not really, whatever. So this was, so as I listened to the song more and more, not just like 10-second parts, like the whole song more and more, I was like, oh, there's a part there. That's where one of these came from. This one particular came from. Oh, there's something at the beginning, which is where this pattern 20, the tubular bells, comes in. So, like, so I just kept building on it. You know, you have the basic, like, the drums, the actual melody parts and stuff like that. So this is just, it's basically really high on the piano. On here, it's in the 7-octave range, right at the cusp, and it goes on and on. So this was a challenge to actually try to get to stand out in the song, because if you don't know, low instruments like bass drum hits, bass guitars, bass in general, low frequencies are much louder and stand out more than higher frequencies because they have a longer wavelength, which is why you can hear people blasting music with all their windows rolled up and all you hear is the bass. So that was quite the, it wasn't a challenge, it was interesting to get it to come to be actually noticeable but not extremely loud in your face and oh my god, turn that down, that's annoying, as is the case with generally any time you're using high-pitched or violins in general stuff. Which is generally why I don't stay away from why I stay away from violins, because they're pretty annoying sometimes. Alright, this one. So, this is the beginning part I was talking about. This is the first thing you hear when you load up the song. And that fades in. So what this is it's pretty much just, it's the Dream Bell in Class from Citrus. So the Dream Bell sounds like this. It has low notes in it, but it's more of an upper register kind of plain sounding one. And this is a really bassy one with a lot of ring to it. So obviously, I've used the two combination of these two before because I really like how they sound together, and they just blend so well together because they're, one's high and carries and one's low and carries, and one is just high and good stable. So you hear here. So when you have the low notes, they actually stick and sound like the low notes. And this is something, like I said, I didn't catch right away, but it plays out very, very much just like the weird slide thing at the beginning. Plays out the majority of the song and at the end for the big build-up. So there's that. That's the through Citrus. I don't know why it doesn't bring up the plugin automatically. That's weird. All right. So this is. Oh, gotcha. So here in the song, there's like a dubsteppy bass, like in and out kind of thing that builds up in complete silence to the beginning of who I assume is his brother's rap on the song. So this is what it sounds like since there's nothing else going on. So the way I did that, I had to, so I've done this before, but this is only like the second time I've ever needed to do it, so I had to go back and look it up. So what I did was, that is not the right button, it is middle mouse click, is I took these, which are, so I subdivided it into, you know, hits that make sense when it goes down, so when it comes back up it's not doing a hit, so it doesn't sound weird. So they're doing the hits when it's silent, so when it comes back up it's just one solid thing. So it's like turning the volume up and down and up and down. So what I have here is, it's basically doing just that. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But then it also needs to fade in, which I did originally pretty easily, which is the second one here, and then I screwed it up and I had to erase both of these because they're both tied together. I had to erase both of them and start all the way over, which was kind of annoying. But then you end up with can I turn off this one? I think it is. There's one pitch, and then if we have just this, it goes oh, like I said, they're tied together, so I have to have them both on. It's like, why isn't it working? I wonder why. Couldn't possibly be an explanation for that, even though I just talked about it. Alright, so you heard this a little, get out of here, which was another one that I had to really listen to this fucking part of the song at least 35 times. It's the most frustrating part of this song to do, because you hear time keeps, time keeps, time keeps over and over, which are the first two words of this section here, over and over and over again, until I got it right. And fucking, I was very upset. I was very annoyed. I just never want to do anything like that again, because it was terrible. But I ran into the same problem now, since it's a lot of notes and just not the couple little ones there. But the fact that there's nothing else playing, the piano is the only thing else going. Ow, those were my elbows. Besides like the drums, so it doesn't need to really be overbearing over anything. It just needs to be louder than the drums, which are very loud, which was the main problem, instead of over here where it was the weird Baroque over the top that it needed to stand out by. So it was like this, so the breaks were another annoying part. This is just part in general, it's just hell, because there are breaks in the song, and then some sounded like they started on upbeats, and some sounded like they started on downbeats, and I could never get it right, so I was just like, just fuck it. Everything's gonna start on the top, not upbeats and downbeats. You're gonna start with the top key and go to the bottom key. Phone not now, I am busy. And and it's gonna switch and it's gonna stop on the low key because it started on the high key. So I kind of just compromised and gave up, because it was already such a hassle at that point that if I had tried to work on it, it would have sounded worse and worse, because I was just getting more and more frustrated. So once again, we have the dream bell and the glass. Which are this one right here. Because I tried, if you come back here and you look, oh, why don't you just cut it out of this one? They actually overlap on the actual beats, so when you do it, it cuts the whole thing out. So I was like, whatever. There's a simple fix. It's the same thing as before. I just copy and paste and do some stuff. Alright, so here's the other snare drum. Which... yeah. Which is this one. Right here at the beginning. Yep, it's this one right here at the beginning. Again, pretty simple, just the standard snare drum. Okay. So now I have the second kick, which I told you about already, for overlapping purposes. Can you stop playing the song, please? That's this part right here. So, what is, oh my god, I can't remember what's going on in this part of the song.
Nobody thinks what you think, no one. Empathy might be on the brink of extinction. They will play a game and say they know what you're going through, and I tried to come up with an artistic way to say they don't know you, and neither do I. So here's a prime example of a stand-up guy who hates what he believes and loves it at the same time. Here's my brother and his head screwed up, but that's alright. Time gains moment and the moment when I'm living in a moment here, sitting in a moment past and after a re-beginning moment, spinning memories, pretending in.
So he says it's his brother in the song, so I only assume it's his brother. Not a clue who it actually is, though. So that's this part right here. So it's the build up to the dropped backing for quote unquote his brother's rap at the beginning. So it sounds pretty much like the one at the beginning. So it's the same rendition of this, except it has more of the low second, I guess it would be your second hand on the piano playing at each interval. And the last one, the guitar at the end. So like I mentioned before, I wanted something that would blend good. So we have, you know, just, can I mute all of the percussion right quick? Right quick. There we go. So we have this. And the song, that might help. The song might help, and I don't need, the slip bells don't need to be playing either. So we have this part here. Already went over it, so then the tubular bells come in. So build it, and then you hear. So the problem I had with the problem I have in general, the standard guitars that come with FL Studio, they're not really good at doing like precise more than like quarter notes, or maybe like quarter notes, sometimes like short eighth note bursts, because they sound like this. They have the hard attack followed by the silence, which you cannot get rid of for the life of you, no matter how long you spend playing around with the plugin. So, to remedy that fact, I made the drums louder, and they just so happen to be on the certain beats where these happen, so it kind of covers up and it makes the guitar sound smoother. And what the guitar pattern is, it's basically just it's a copy and paste of the main theme at the end to build up. Because there are a lot more stuff going on in the actual song at the end that it just becomes a clusterfuck of how the fuck can I listen to this one thing in like this group of 30 other things that's going on. I can't. So I was like, loud drums, the sleigh bell, fucking 3 things, big build up, and then just fucking cymbal roll at the end. So I just use the standard, just the electric guitar 1. The reason I have 2 here is because if you put it on 1, the jump it does, right there, is, here it comes. So if you go up from that, it turns into this grinding, squealed, modulated, like, death tone that no longer sounds like a guitar. It sounds like a distorted beep. And okay, I was like, so I'll make it its own track. I'll just clone it and do the thing. Still happens. So I had to drop it an octave. So then it sounds like this. Because apparently when the two play together, any high jumps are raised an octave. So even though it sounds, even though, you know, they're chilling out here at the low, they actually sound, what is that, the F? They actually sound like this when they're both played together. Don't ask me why. Not a fucking clue. They're on different mixer channels. Couldn't figure it out. So I was just like, improvise. Let's do it. Alright. So then at the end, for the final build-up, I have the modulation turned on the guitar. So I have it turned on them both because I copied it afterwards. So I was like, whatever. So you go into zone here and you turn on the phaser. And I have it, the frequency set to about 1/4 and then minimum all the way down. And then as you hit bam here, of course, I have this track right here is turned to the minimum maximum on the phaser. So you hit that and it goes bam and it turns all the way to max. So now it's on. And the effects I just sent to a controller and then I made some wobbles so it sounds like this, which I have to turn the other ones off because it's not gonna work. Okay, can I just do a solo? Let me just... So the phaser on it, but it's not too fast. Like at the beginning, I had one like in this pattern. It was more rounded, but it was much faster. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of sounds like crap. I want it to not be like this huge distracting thing at the end. I want it to sound good again, like I said. So I was like, all right, so I'll just put it on moderate. This is a little tiny thing. There you go. So the crash, I just took crash cymbals, you know, and then I cloned it, reversed the channel, so now ta-da, it becomes a crash cymbal roll. And what I did for the sleigh bells is instead of having that huge wave, I just chopped up one section and it just repeats there, and then you go whoop, whoop, whoop. And so after with the phaser on, after it continues the motion, so it gets this cool like fade off effect at the end after the cymbal crash, and you can hear it fading off, and it's a nice touch that I did by accident, but shh, don't tell anyone. So yeah, that was the explanation of Kitchen Sink by 21 Pilots. If you never watched these ones before and you skip to the end, these are long. Probably disclaimer at the beginning of the video, which is usually why I'm going to try to do them in their own separate videos. So people are like, what, is this says it's a recreation, but it's an hour long. Like, the song's only 3 minutes. What's going on here? I'm being shamboozled. So it'll go up at the same time and they'll both have links to each other. But thank you for watching, or you skipped to the end, or you just skipped to each part. If you're curious about something that you saw in here, you just kept skipping until you found it. Thank you for watching anyways. This is FL Studio 10, the one I'm currently using. I know 11's out. It looks weird. Like, the UI is completely changed, so I want to just... I know how everything looks. I know where everything is. I'm gonna stick with this one. Just leave me in my bubble. This has been Muse Myself at Home, signing out. Peace out, guys.